I've heard that Leachianus they have found like fecal samples of like even like small vertebrate like birds.
Small birds, yeah.
Yeah.
That's mostly the grand terre animals. The larger forms tend to be more carnivorous, and
Yeah.
I've seen, sometimes I'll look at babies and, not even as far as their first feeding, you'll throw a few crickets on there, or you'll have one, you'll have a baby leech in a cage,
Yeah.
and you have crickets in the other cage. You see he's really looking. It's like
Yeah.
you have some that are very carnivorous, like right
Right off
away,
the bat, yeah.
and if you raise two together, they'll eat their sibling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Do you think there's anything in terms of like the nutritional and dietary needs that these geckos require? Is there anything that we're missing that you think? Because I've noticed that there's been a big push, especially with crested geckos and gargoyles, also to feed more insects, more live insects. Obviously, Chahoua, it's pretty well known that they do require. They definitely benefit from, more insect protein. And
Again, I'm going to go. All I can say is, all I can say is I can look at Alan, who I think was,
Yeah.
again, we're talking, thousands total in terms of,
Right. Geckos.
gecko, brachydactyls, and so on, bred. The long-term success that Alan has had with his diet, and in terms of just breeding, I guess for me it's like I know that looking at Alan's success, over a long time, more like 20 years,
Yeah.
that somehow he got it right.
Yes.
He
No,
got it
absolutely.
right. He got it right. Do I think it's a good idea to also add insects to the diets of the? Yes, and I do think that in some cases, if babies include insects in the diet of the babies, I think they can grow faster.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything wrong, with
No,
the
no,
diets,
yeah,
and,
I
and
think-
you can. Again, I know that. Alan has allergies to certain insects, and that was really partially a reason I think for him developing artificial diets.
Yeah.
And I know now with his things like grub pie and all that, you can
Yeah.
add, the
Insect
soldier
protein.
fly, insect protein to the diet,
Yeah.
in a way using artificial diets. But
The reason I ask is because crested geckos are solid and never, but gargoyles and leachies in particular, I noticed that a lot of the babies, especially like certain time of the year, like later in the breeding season, will start to hatch with a little bit of a wavy tail. So I'm always wondering, like, are we doing
the wavy tail,
Yeah.
because that wavy tail usually straightens out.
It does,
It
yes.
does. And I think the wavy tail is when you're late in breeding season, that the female is in some way calcium deficient.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of it. Even Chahoua, I've noticed also, even the adults can be okay, but they might develop a wavy tail later on.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of calcium deficiency, just because calcium demands from egg production are starting to take a toll, and they're not quite enough. But usually, in most cases, as you know, they grow out of it.
They do tend to grow out of it. I'm just wondering, is there anything in particular, by the way, that you do when you hatch a baby gargoyle or leachie and it has a little bit of a wavy tail you do to correct it?
It usually corrects.
you
just the
just
standard
wait it.
diet does.
And do you hit your females with any extra like calcium during the breeding season?
I don't, and I probably should, but I really haven't. And again, right now, I could say right now, generally my diet, I do always include, besides, I've actually fed my geckos mostly Alan's, classic Crested Gecko diet, but I usually now I add, I'd say about 20% of grub pie in the mix.
Okay.
But it's worked.
Yeah.
As you probably saw, I have these two Leachianus from Nuami that are living, that we collected as adults in 97. And all they've been fed is Rapashi diet, and until I think the last clutch of eggs, the female still lays a clutch or two of eggs, but the last fertile clutch was in 2019. But again, I collected them in 97. They're still living.